Hello and welcome back to Acquire English Live. This is episode 14. I'm here as always with Tuan. Tuan, how's everything going today?
Good, thank you.
And before we get started, I just wanted to mention we have a brand new course available. This one here is on Skillshare. It's our English speaking, listening, pronunciation. It's the training course. So this one is for A2 level to get you to the B1 level. We also have a A1 to go to B2. That was the original course. So this is our second course, still kind of a beginner course, but more of upper beginner. And very similar course also available on Udemy, if you're familiar with the Udemy platform. So we have the true beginner course, Acquire English Speaking, Listening, and Pronunciation. So A1 to A2. And then the second course, A2 to B1 level. So both of these are basic beginner courses, but it'll get you to a pretty good level, pretty good speaking level. And if you're watching this about the time we post it, there's still 2 days left. It's on sale. So this is, of course, we're in Japan. So this is 1,200 yen. So it's about 10, 11 US dollars on sale right now. And of course, don't forget, we have lots of videos available on YouTube. Notice this past week, we had a lot of videos put out, and also on Facebook. And we have a big ask on Facebook. We are approaching 20,000 people. So right now, if I can zoom in here, we have 18,958 followers on Facebook, and we really, really want to get to 20,000 by the end of this year. So we have less than 1 month. So if you like our videos, if you like us, please consider sharing the page with a friend. And to do that, you can go up here if you're on desktop. And there's a little thing to invite friends. And there's a similar feature you can use on your phone. So please, if you enjoy our videos and you want to help us out, that's a big, big way you can do that for us. But let's get into our topic today. So today, Tuan, we're talking about movies. And I know you're a big fan of movies. What kinds of movies do you like?
I think it depends on the director, but yeah, anything's fine. But it depends on the writer, director.
Yeah. I know I asked that question, but it's not really fair because I don't have a good answer either. It does depend on kind of, who made the movie a lot. And of course, as we record this, it's the beginning of December in 2020. So still all around the world, COVID-19 is having some problems. So not many people are going to the movie theater, or as you would say, going to the cinema, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, Americans don't really say go to the cinema so often, but that's the proper way to say it in the UK?
Yeah, cinema. I wouldn't say movie, we would say maybe film.
Film? Yeah, that's another big one. Right?
Yeah.
I think like people who really like movies, who really enjoy it, usually would say a film, or people who make them often say films, right? But I would say most Americans say movies. So we'd say go to the movie theater or just go to the movies as well. So what was the last movie you saw at the cinema, as you would say?
It's probably last year, probably Joker.
Yeah. Same for me. Same one, almost exactly a year ago, probably. I went and saw the Joker. What did you think of that movie?
Acting was very good.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix was very good.
Yeah. He's a great actor.
The movie itself was, it was okay.
Right. I know. I went to see that movie by myself, which is somewhat rare for me. Do you often go to movies by yourself?
Now I'll go with the wife. Yeah, we've had a very similar taste in films.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, that
helps.
Yeah. That might have been the first and only movie I've ever gone to by myself, but it was a bad choice because it's a very heavy movie, right?
Yeah.
It's a little, it's good, but it's kind of sad, a little depressing. It's kind of psychological movie. So I know when it finished, I was kind of needed someone to talk to about it, sort of feeling. So
yeah, it helps.
Yeah, it was not a good movie to go to by myself, but yeah, but that's probably the last one. I'm looking forward to going to the theater again at some point, I hope. We'll see. Sometime in 2021, probably. Are there any movies right now that you want to see?
Not really. It's been a slow year. I think lots of things have been delayed.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about before, movies might be dying a little bit. The movie theater, at least, the theater experience.
Yeah.
I think I've heard a lot about it recently. People talking about the movie theater experience is not as good as it used to. It hasn't really changed much over the years, right?
They tried to change it with a 3D, but it didn't really work out.
Yeah, but I mean, at home, watching movies at home these days, I mean, TVs have gotten bigger and cheaper, and the quality is still really good. So, yeah, going to the movies isn't quite as popular as it once was. But anyway, why don't we get into today's conversation? So in today's conversation, we are talking about going to the movies. So let's have a listen.
Did you go to the movies yesterday?
Yeah, but we watched that war film instead of seeing that horror movie.
How was it?
It was really depressing, but if you're interested in history, you'll like it.
I might have to check it out.
Okay, and next let's just go line by line and break down that conversation. Okay, so the first line here was Tuan's, and Tuan said,
did you go to the movies yesterday?
Right, so did you go to the movies yesterday? So you said you were going to see a movie. Did you see a movie? That's kind of what this means. Of course, Tuan is starting out the conversation with, did you go to the movies yesterday? So obviously, or should be obvious, that we had talked about this the day before or previously, that I was going to go see a movie. That's why they said, did you go to the movies yesterday? It was a conversation we had before. And again, did you go to the movies? Maybe not perfectly natural for a British person to say. Maybe you would say what here, Tuan? Did you
go to the cinema?
Did you go to the cinema yesterday? Right. So I think I wrote this lesson. So I said, go to the movies as an American, very natural way to say that. But you can say go to the movies or go to the cinema. Both are okay. And the next line is, yeah, but we watched that war film instead of seeing that horror movie. So this one takes a little bit of an explanation. So again, this is a previous conversation we had. So I told you we were going to see the horror movie, but we changed our mind and watched the war movie. So in this situation, there must be a very popular or well-known horror movie that's playing. So we say the horror movie, the being a specific horror movie. If it were just any horror movie, we would say a horror movie or a horror movie. And same as the war movie. There's one war movie that both of us know which movie we're talking about. So we say the war movie instead of a war movie. Hopefully that makes sense there. But we use the here because these are specific movies that both of us understand which one we're talking about. Is that okay? Anything to add there, Tuan? Did I miss anything?
quite similar to using the that in the conversation. So that war movie is that specific war movie.
Right. Exactly. So when you have that war movie, that horror movie, it's a specific war movie. Right. Okay. And the next line here. How was it?
How was it?
That's actually Tuan's line. How was it? So it's easy enough. Was it good? Was it bad? Right? No problem. I think it's easy to understand. So I said, it was really depressing. So notice I'm crying here, similar to when I talked about watching The Joker, a little bit of a depressing movie. So it made me really sad. It was depressing. And next line. But if you are interested in history, you'll like it. So be interested in just means if you like, or similar to meaning if you like. So if you like history, you'll enjoy the movie. Easy enough. Do you like historical movies, Tuan?
Some. Yeah.
I tend to like those. I tend to like historical movies. But I know they're not very accurate. So it's kind of, you kind of have to take that. They get the Hollywood treatment for them. Okay. And the last line here.
I might have to check it out.
Right. I might have to check it out. Just means maybe I'll go see it. So means that sounds interesting. So I might have to check it out. I might have to go see it. Maybe I'll go see it. Okay. So let's
in the video, the tone was, in the video, the tone was quite positive. So I would probably watch it.
Yeah. Maybe we talked before, this is probably not the best picture here. It sounds like this should be more of a kind of thinking face. I might have to check it out, right? It sounds like more I'm interested in seeing this. So we use this a lot when someone gives us some maybe interesting detail about a movie or a new restaurant or something like that. We would say, I might have to check it out. It means maybe I'll go see it. Sounds interesting. Is that okay? We could probably even add that at the beginning if we said, ooh, sorry. Yeah. Sounds interesting. Maybe I'll go see it. Maybe I might have to check it out. So a good expression there that you can use. Okay. And that'll bring us to our grammar point today. So today we're going to talk about instead of. So we use instead of to say we're replacing one activity or thing with another. So in the conversation, I said, yeah, but we watched that war film instead of seeing that horror movie. So in this case, we use instead of ing. And so we're going to talk about an activity instead of ing. And we could also say we watched that war film instead of that horror movie. So we don't have to have the ing. We can also follow it with a noun. So let's look at one more example here. So here we said, usually I drink coffee in the morning, but today I drank tea. How would we use instead in this conversation here? Changing this sentence using instead, Tuan.
So we can say, I drank tea instead of coffee.
Right, perfect. So I drank tea instead of coffee today, right? So notice instead of, and then coffee is a noun. So just a single word instead of coffee. And if we wanted to use ing in this sentence, we could say, I drank tea instead of drinking coffee today. But in this particular situation, this example is probably a little more natural. We wouldn't use drank and drinking in the same sentence, most likely. It's maybe okay to do, but probably not the most natural way of saying that. We'd probably say, I drank tea instead of coffee today. Is that okay? So let's go ahead and look at some more examples, and then we'll give you a chance to do some of these on your own as you watch. So let's look at the next one. This one here. So it's cold in my room. I didn't want to turn on the heater, so I put on a sweater. How would we use instead in this situation, Tuan?
So we can here. Instead of turning on the heater, I put on a sweater.
Sweater. Right. I don't know if we need the comma there, do we? Instead of turning on the heater, I put on a sweater. So again, instead of, and we have this ing here. Instead of turning on the heater, I put on a sweater. Okay. So in this situation, we probably do need an ing. It'd be difficult to make this sentence using just a noun. Okay. So next, we want you to try at home. How about you try some of these? So this one here we have, I wanted to eat out, but I'm afraid of getting sick. Right? These days, of course, many people are worried about catching coronavirus, so they don't want to get sick. So I wanted to eat out, but I'm afraid of getting sick. So I cooked at home. So we'll give you a few seconds here to figure out how would you use instead in this situation. And we're probably going to need ing in this situation, this sentence. Okay, hopefully that's enough time. What do you think, Tuan? How would we use this one?
So we could start with instead of, and the action is, so the action that you wanted to do is the first one. So instead of eating out.
Right, so we didn't eat out, right? So instead of eating out,
I cooked at home.
right, instead of eating out, I cooked at home. Again, the first action, the instead of, means you did not do this one. You didn't eat out. You did cook at home. Does that make sense? So the next one, next example here. It's a nice day. I didn't take the train. I walked to work. And this one as well, we'll probably use instead of ing. So we'll give you a couple seconds here to come up with an answer. Okay, Tuan, do you have an answer for us?
So the same again, the first one is the didn't. So instead of taking the train, and then you say the other action. So replace the other activity, which is I walked to work.
Right. And we should mention, you can change these around. You could say, I walked to work instead of taking the train is also okay. Or starting the sentence with instead of is also okay. So we have these two ideas, idea one and idea two. We can switch those around if we want to. So I walked to work instead of taking the train. Okay, let's go on to a couple more examples here. So this next one, we are at a restaurant. So I ordered a burger with fries or with French fries, but I want to change the fries to onion rings. So we want to know, how do I ask? How would I ask the waiter or waitress to change the burgers to onion rings? I'm sorry, change the fries to onion rings, okay? In this case, since we're talking about fries and onion rings, we do not need the ing here. We can just use a noun. And we'll give you a couple seconds here to figure it out. Okay, Tuan, do you have an answer?
So there's two different actions. So the first one, you can say, I want onion rings instead of fries.
In this case, we need a question, right? How do I ask?
Could I have onion rings instead of fries?
Right. Rings instead of rice. And it's a question, right? So if you do often at a restaurant, maybe you want to substitute one thing for another thing, we can use this. Can I have A instead of B in this situation? Can I have onion rings instead of fries? Make sense? Okay, the next one we have maybe a business situation. So we have a meeting planned for 5 o'clock, but now I'm busy. I want to meet at 2. How do I ask? We'll give you a couple minutes or a couple seconds to figure this one out. Okay, what do you think, Tuan?
So we can use the same way. So we can say, could we meet at 2 instead of 5, or instead of meeting at 5? Well, maybe more natural just to say instead of 5.
Right, so could we meet at 2 instead of, and again, instead of meeting. Meeting at, there we go. 5. So we can say it's 2 ways. Could we meet at 2 instead of 5? Or could we meet at 2 instead of meeting at 5? But again, without this, it's probably most natural. Instead of 5 is probably the most natural way to say that. Okay, so I want to meet at 2 instead of meeting at 5. Okay, and the last one here, I don't want to go to English class, but still want to learn. What could I do? Give you a couple of seconds to think about one at home. Okay, Tuan, you have a good answer for this one?
You could study online instead of going to class or English class.
Instead of going to English class. So yeah, you could study online instead of going to English class. I happen to know some good places you can study online. Just a couple.
Yes.
How about you, Tuan? Yeah. So
Yep.
as we mentioned before, of course, we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and we have our new courses on Udemy and Skillshare. So again, the courses on Udemy and Skillshare are more training courses to train your speaking, listening, and pronunciation. And once again, on Facebook, we really want to get to 20,000 followers by the end of this year. So if you have a friend that you think would like our page, that would enjoy watching some of our videos, please share the page with your friends. We would truly appreciate it. We're trying hard to come up with some good content for everyone. And we're trying to reach as many people as possible. So I think that pretty much does it for us today, Tuan. Anything to add? No.
So
Take care, be safe, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.